Good morning, and today we are going to see about a very important topic for the present scenario, that is biodiversity conservation. So, as you know, the sustainable biodiversity is very important for day to day life. And here we are going to see how this biodiversity is affected and what are all the measures we can take to conserve biodiversity and how the natural animals can help in biodiversity conservation. So here I have given the title Role of B5 in Biodiversity Conservation. And now let's see what is this B5 and what is their role and how they can conserve biodiversity and in what way we can help them to be in this nature and bring us a healthy environment. So first you should know what is biodiversity. As you all know, the variety of plants and animal life in the world or in a particular habitat which is usually considered to be important and desirable. That is biodiversity. See, the variety of plants and animal life in the world are very important. And all these together we can say as biodiversity. And do we have variety of plants and animals? And what is happening to biodiversity? As we all know today, we are losing a vast area of forest cover as well as agricultural field. See, every day we are losing a vast area of forest cover as well as agricultural field. This is what is happening to our biodiversity. And now let's see why this loss and what is happening to this biodiversity, how this is happening. See, there are few main causes of this biodiversity loss. The first one is habitat destruction. The second one is global warming. Third one, over exploitation, then pollution, then accidents or persecutions, then non-native species. So we cannot say these are the only reasons for the loss of biodiversity. Still, there are so many reasons, but these are the main causes of biodiversity loss. And here are few threats for this biodiversity loss. Even though there are causes, there are so many threats for this biodiversity. The first one is pest infestation. The second one is poaching. And the third one is floods. And the fourth one is forest fire. And the fifth one is monoculture practices. As you know, so many threats are there for this biodiversity loss. See, when you see this pest infestation, see there are different types of pests that infest the trees, the agricultural crops, the forest covers, and so on, that destroy so many very economically important trees and agricultural crops. And poaching is another thing that brings threat to the biodiversity. And floods bring soil erosion so that lot of trees and crops can be destroyed. Then forest fire that also destroys the biodiversity a lot. And monoculture practices, see, culturing with a same type of plant species or tree species will not help in biodiversity conservation. How to overcome this loss? See, we have seen it may be due to pollution, it may be due to poaching, it may be due to pest infestation. So many threats are there, and so many causes are there for habitat loss or biodiversity loss. How can we overcome this loss? So that's what is very important we are going to see today. This loss can be overcome by biodiversity managers. So, in every situation and in every department, management is very important, and the managers are very important to manage the whole department the same way to manage or supervise or overcome this biodiversity loss. There are specifically few species. I mean, there are 5 bee. The first one is honeybee, the second one is beetle, the third one is butterfly, the fourth one is birds, and the fifth one is bats. These are the 5 biodiversity managers. That's why I have mentioned in my title role of B5 in biodiversity conservation. So bees, beetles, butterflies, birds, and bats plays an important role in biodiversity conservation. And now let's see this role of all these B5 one by one. The first one, role of bees. The main part, main function of these bees are pollination. They are biopollinators. They pollinate the flowers and so thereby helps in the production of crops. The first and the most important part of the bees in the ecosystem is pollination of plants and production of crops. As you know, pollination is the process by which pollen is transferred in the plants, thereby enabling the fertilization and sexual reproduction. It is often be said that these bees are responsible for 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat. Every day we are taking different type of foods, and every 3 bites of the food we eat is given by these bees. So honeybees plays a very important role in ensuring food security. So this is the importance of bees. And now come to the next one, the role of beetles. These beetles plays an important role as bioherbicides. They feed on weeds, fungi, unwanted plants, unwanted herbs. So they act as bioherbicides. These ground beetles they often feed on even the seeds of unwanted plants, seeds of weeds. So they play an important role in controlling the weeds and also they help in pollination. And the next one is about the role of butterflies. They are mentioned as bioindicators. See, we all love observing or admiring nature. See, even these butterflies fly like anything. But nowadays, very difficult to find even a single butterfly. In previous days, when we were very small, maybe 20, 25 years back, every day, even in the morning, we can see colorful butterflies flying everywhere. But here, see, nowadays, we could hardly find a butterfly in a day. So anyway, we'll see the importance of these butterflies. Butterflies are indicators of healthy environment and healthy ecosystems. Wherever there is a butterfly, that means that environment is very healthy, that ecosystem is very healthy. The abundance of butterflies generally reflects the amount of rainfall and green vegetation. They also act as pollinators and as a food source for other species. They also act as important connector in an ecosystem web. And now come to the role of birds. These birds are also a very beautiful creatures which could be admired by us every day-to-day life. They function as bioseed dispersers and also bioscavengers. Birds play a vital role because of their fruit eating habit is enormous. They carry seeds both externally and internally, even to faraway places. Birds occupy many levels of trophic webs. They also serve as important scavengers in many ecosystems, removing the remains of even dead animals. And now come to the next B, that is role of bats. Among all these five Bs, I mean bees, beetles, birds, and butterflies, this bat, I mean these bats are said to be the champion of all because their role in the ecosystem is very, very, very important and amazing. They act as biopollinators, they act as bioseed dispersers, they act as biopest controllers, they act as bioindicators, and they act as biopropagators. So these bats are the champion of all the B5. How can we gain this loss of biodiversity? So we have seen the role of all these B5. Role of bees, role of butterflies, role of birds, role of bats, role of beetles, and so on. How can we gain this loss of biodiversity? The first one, by increasing the activity of B5 in the affected area. As you know, so many regions, habitat are affected, maybe due to anthropogenic activities or maybe by nature. However, most of the habitat lands are affected. So, by increasing the activity of B5 in the affected area, how can we do that? By encouraging the mutualistic behavior of plants and animals, by providing habitat for native species, by supplying foraging ground for seed dispersers and pollinators, by planting preferred herbs, shrubs, and trees, by keeping apiary in your backyard, by cultivating good crops, by propagating plants through bats dispersed seeds. Seedlings from the bat feeding roost can be recovered and planted in the degraded forest area. So, as a part of conclusion, I can say all the B5 are important indicators of environmental health. They all play a major role in the conservation and existence of biodiversity of the native species. They all help to repair the damage done to biodiversity. And also all the B5 help to maintain and enhance healthy forest and agro ecosystem. So once we protect all these species and restore all these areas, definitely we can conserve biodiversity. And here are a few suggestions and responsibility which I can make for you. First one, restore, recover, renovate, reinstate, and rejuvenate. So if we conserve all the B5 by doing this, definitely we can restore, recover, renovate, reinstate, and rejuvenate the R5 responsibilities. Definitely, if we follow, we can conserve biodiversity. This is the suggestion made by me through B5. If you follow this R5, we can do it. We all can do together. Definitely, the weak nature can be changed into healthy nature. All the animals, trees, plants, everything can flourish. All the agricultural crops can be restored, and we can save all the endangered species in this world. And here's the warning by all these B5s. Definitely, they are saying if we die, we are taking you with us. So we think what to do. Conserve biodiversity. Biodiversity will bring healthy nature. Healthy nature will sustain human life. So let's all give hands together and conserve biodiversity through this B5. Remember R5, our responsibility to conserve biodiversity. Thank you.